Australia, formerly the Commonwealth of Australia, is a sovereign entity that includes the Australian continent's mainland, the island of Tasmania, and a number of smaller islands. Australia's continent is the world's smallest in terms of land area. It has a total area of 2,967,909 square miles, 7,686,884 square kilometers. Accounts about 5% of the world's land area. Divided into 8 states. Canberra is Australia's capital. In 1770, James Cook found kangaroos, Australia's national emblem, outnumber Australian inhabitants by a factor of 2. Australia has 24 million inhabitants in 2016 and 44 million kangaroos at the time of the latest count in 2015. Kangaroo meat is consumed by Australians. Australia has over 10,000 beaches. You could visit a new beach every day for over 27 years. There are 160 languages spoken in here. Official National Day is January 26. There are 3.6 million hectares of rainforest in Australia. Crocodile flesh is consumed. Indeed, they are reproducing abundantly across the Northern Territory, and croc flesh has become a delicacy in Australia. It's not as popular as kangaroo meat, but it's nonetheless popular and accessible at upscale restaurants, delis, and select supermarkets. The Australian dollar, AUD, is the country's currency. There are 4 sheep for every person. The national sheep flock is currently estimated at 104 million. Egypt has fewer camels than Australia. There are currently over 1 million wild camels in Australia, and as many as 100,000 in Egypt. The name Australia is derived from the Latin phrase Terra Australis, which meaning southern land. 90% of Australians live near the sea or on the outskirts of the country. Tasmania boasts the world's cleanest air. Fraser Island is the world's biggest sand island. The Indian Pacific Railway in Australia has the world's longest straight piece of train rails. All semi-automatic rifles and pump-action shotguns were outlawed in Australia. Outside of Greece, Melbourne has the largest Greek community. The Australian Alps, often known as the Snowy Mountains, receive more snow than Switzerland. There is no place in Australia that is more than 1,000 kilometers from the ocean and a beach. The Australian Alps, often known as the Snowy Mountains, receive more snow than Switzerland. They are divided into 3 separate time zones. The magnificent Sydney Opera House, the project was estimated to take 4 years to complete. It took 14 years. Work began in 1959, and 10,000 construction workers were employed. The Sydney Opera House was included on UNESCO's World Heritage List in 2007, and it was inaugurated by Queen Elizabeth II on October 20, 1973. Arnold Schwarzenegger won his last Mr. Olympia title in the concert hall in 1980. The Dingo fence is longer than China's Great Wall. If you've ever wondered where the world's longest fence is, go no further than Australia. Dingo fence, dog fence, runs 5,600 kilometers, 3 times the length of the Great Wall of China, from Jimbaugh in the Darling Downs near Dalby to the Nullarbor Plain Cliffs. The earliest police officers in Australia were criminals. Governor Arthur Phillip established Australia's first civilian police unit, the Night Watch, in 1789. This squad was made up of the 12 best-behaved convicts who had been chosen to help uphold law and order in Sydney. Australia is home to some of the world's most lethal creatures. The box jellyfish, marbled cone snail, blue-ringed octopus, and stonefish are all among the world's top 10 most poisonous species, and they all exist in Australia. The Great Barrier Reef, the world's biggest coral reef system, is located in Australia. Religions in Australia are varied. Despite the fact that Australia is a secular country with a varied migrant population and over 120 faiths, it has historically been a Christian country. The world's longest golf course is located in here. In Australia, the Great Emu War erupted. To combat the emu, the government employed former World War I soldiers. The conflict was won by emus. Sydney has around 100 beaches. The city has well over 100 beaches, ranging in size from a few meters to several kilometers, located along the Pacific Ocean coastline and its harbors, bays, and rivers. Thunderstorms are common in Australia. Severe storms often wreak havoc on Western Australia's northern coast. On December 25, 1869, a cyclone destroyed the towns of Roban and Cossack, killing many people. In 1970, the world's first obligatory seatbelt law. The first obligatory seatbelt regulation was enacted in the Australian state of Victoria in 1970, mandating drivers and front seat passengers to wear them. Australia is home to 21 of the top 25 most dangerous snakes in the world. 91% is covered by native vegetation. Australia is one of the driest inhabited countries on the planet, with 70% of its territory classified as dry or semi-arid. Arid zones are classified as locations with an average rainfall of 250 millimeters or less. The semi-arid zone is described as places with average rainfall of 250 to 350 millimeters. There are pink lakes in here. A pink lake is one that is crimson or pink in color. This is frequently generated by the presence of salt-tolerant algae that produce carotenoids, such as Dunaliella salina, generally in association with certain bacteria that differ each lake. Melbourne has continuously ranked high on the Worldwide Livability Index. The world's biggest rock is Australia's Ayers Rock. Australia is ranked 26th on the list of the world's most obese countries. With almost 9,000 miles, Australia's Roadway 1 is the world's longest national highway, 14,500 kilometers. The world's happiest mammal lives in here. The quokka, also known as the short-tailed scrub wallaby, is a tiny macropod the size of a domestic cat. In Australia, forest fires are common. The NSW Rural Fire Service estimated that 11,264 bush or grass fires burned 5.4 million hectares, damaged 2,439 dwellings, and consumed about 24 megalitres of fire retardant between July 2019 and February 2020. Seafood sector is currently worth billions of dollars. The fisheries assessed in the Fishery Status Reports 2021 generated an estimated gross value of production of $438 million in 2018 to 2019, accounting for 28% of Australia's total gross value of production from wild catch fisheries, which was $1.6 billion. Australia has a Christmas Island. Christmas Island is situated in the Indian Ocean, 1,500 kilometers west of Australia's mainland and 2,600 kilometers from Perth. Despite being an Australian territory, Christmas Island's closest neighbour is Indonesia, which is around 350 kilometers to the north. The island is around 500 kilometers from Jakarta. Christmas Island is home to red crabs. The hottest temperature ever recorded in is 50.7 degrees Celsius. Lowest temperature is -23 degrees Celsius. In 1981, the Sydney Tower was the highest skyscraper in the world. Anzac Day is observed on April 25th. Anzac Day is an Australian and New Zealand national day of commemoration that remembers all Australians and New Zealanders. Anzac Day, observed on April 25th each year, was created to honour members of the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, ANZAC, who participated in the Gallipoli Campaign, their first involvement in World War I, 1914 to 1918. The boomerang is a well-known Australian symbol. The boomerang is a sign of cultural persistence and a visible link to Aboriginal peoples' lengthy history on this continent.